Welcome back to the disaster area I like to call my guest bath. If you missed the last video, go back and watch that one. I think I'll put together a playlist on my channel, so projects that take more than 1 week or longer than I want to put in one video, you can look them up easily, so guest bath or master bath, that kind of stuff. So go back and look at that one. So today, the priority, I think, for the bathroom is prep for tile. So two things I need to do for that. One, I need to work on this. And what I need to do is I want to get rid of this roughness. So I need to get rid of the mortar that had that other tile on it. So there is Durarock or backerboard behind this. So I want to get rid of this. I've ordered some parts or a tool, and it showed up the other day. So this is a cement rub brick, so it's pretty coarse. It's about 20 grit, and I'm going to work on this stuff and see if I can get that to a flat surface that is equal with the existing tile and gets rid of this roughness and unevenness so that I can get my tile to lay down properly. The second thing is I need to work on the floor some more. When I ripped up the mesh and the mortar before, I left some staples behind, which I spent a lot of time pulling those up. And then there's still some mud here that's in some clumps. So I want the Durarock to lay flat, so I need to chip that out. Maybe run that rub brick over the top of some of these bumps and stuff, and see if we can knock it loose from the subfloor. So that's what's on tap today. Get that prepped, and then I want to get the Durarock adhered to the subfloor and let that start drying, because that needs a day or two before you start putting tile on it. So that's what I got in plan. Let's get to it. Okay, I've been working on that mortar for a while. Let me show you what I'm trying to get to. So, sorry about the shadows there. So the Hardy backer, or the Durarock board, has this really thin mesh in there. I'm trying to get down to that without breaking through it. So this is pretty smooth. That's what I'm trying to get to around the entire perimeter. So it's going to take a little while, but I'll give you an idea kind of what I'm trying to do here. So I'm just trying to get down to that Hardy backer, that Durarock backing, so that tile will lay as flat as possible. And I have as much space in here to put new mortar to stick the new tiles to it. So that's what I'm trying to get to. So I'm going to work on that for a while, and I'll bring you back in when there's something interesting. Hey, time for an update. I think it's going pretty well. See my progress there. So that cement rub block or brick was doing pretty good. Felt like I was leveling it out really well. This guy, but slow going. So just like the Grand Canyon was etched out by water and rocks running down a ravine. If I took enough time and effort, I could have done that, but I'm impatient. So I do have some other tools in the garage. So I ended up grabbing a die grinder. I couldn't find the right attachment, so I wanted to use a grinding disc on it, but I did find these wire wheels that I had. Pretty sure a bunch from Harbor Freight, so pretty inexpensive. So was using this and just found a little spot and just kind of worked the spot over till I got down to the mesh of the Durarock, which you can see. So the lighter color cement is the mortar. The dark gray is the Durarock. So I pretty much got it down to that, and then I'm going to clean it up with that rub brick, and then I need to clean out the corners still, probably chip those out with either a cold chisel, or I might sacrifice a wood chisel, like a cheap one, not one of my good ones. Just a utility one that I have for this kind of stuff. So going pretty good. So that's almost done, and then I'll get working on the floor. So we'll finish that up and move on to the next steps. Okay, cleanup is all done. Let me show you real quick what I finished up with and what kind of were some trouble spots. That went really well with the pneumatic tool. I used the wire wheels just because that's what I had and I could get to them really easy. The other thing that I liked about it was it wasn't too aggressive. I thought first I'll use grinding wheels and stuff, but that's just stone on stone, and if I slipped, that would be kind of scary. If I slipped with some wire, it may not damage the tile. So I went with that. Took a little bit longer, but it worked really well. But like I said earlier, I had to clean up the corners quite a bit. And the only thing that I really had that worked well with that was this old wood chisel. So I got a bunch of these that I use for random projects and stuff, but that sharp point I didn't even need a hammer. I just kind of scraped it and scraped out the corners and got them all nice and clean. Test fit them with a piece of tile I had, so everything looks really good. Corners along the edges, tops and bottoms, so I'm pretty happy with that. And then the floor, the only thing left on that, there was some mud left behind on the floor. You still kind of see the remnants of it there. I took that rub brick and used that and ran it over the floor just like really quick, and that took short work of the mud that was still there from the mesh and mud bed, except there was a couple spots where I missed some staples, and those staples stuck up and caught the edge of my rub brick, and you can kind of see what happened. It snapped it. So that should have lasted longer than it should have, but I was able to finish the job and get this done. So it's still usable, but you want to be careful and stuff like that. It cost some staples. So obviously it kind of sanded the top of the staples, so they were easier to see now because they weren't like hiding in the mud. They were just kind of shiny. So I think I got the rest of them out of there. So that is going to wait till I do tile, the shower, and then this, I got to put the backer down. So I think what I'll do is it comes in 3x5 sheets, and I'm using 1/4 inch because that's about what came out of there with that mud bed. So I decided I'm going to use that. So the big thing with that is just like sheetrock, stagger your joints. So I kind of want to see how this lays out because I'm slightly over 6 feet one way and slightly over 5 feet one way. So the backer board is 3x5. So I'm going to have to do a little math in my head and see what lays out the best. So I'm going to figure that out and lay everything first to make sure it fits, and then we'll pull it up, mix up some mud, and then get that down behind it and stick it down permanently, and then screw it down as well. Hey, so a little update. Spent the last 2 mornings now trying to track down some tools and some items I need to finish up this project. So I've got most of the stuff, but there's a few things that always seem to take the most time. So I was able to finally get a tool that I was looking for, and I'll show you that later. But it feels like it put me a little bit behind. If it feels like this is going a little bit slower than it should, it is. And that happens with projects. So let me show you where we are, and then we'll get some work done today. So last night I got a late start yesterday. So last night, right before dinner, I got all the Durarock trimmed and cut and put in place. So I left a little gap on the seams. So I can get some mud and mesh tape over the top of that and fill in those gaps there. But fit pretty well. It was just getting so late that I didn't want to start mixing mud and in case I ran into a problem or something. So let's do that now. So I'll pull these up. You'll notice, I cut pretty wide around all those pipes and stuff. That's going to be under the cabinet, so no one's ever going to see it. And that's pretty much what it looked like when I ripped up the other stuff, if you remember. So let's pull this stuff up, sweep again, have a nice clean floor. There's no debris sitting under there when we go to put the mud down. So let's mix up a batch and start putting that down. Probably do that in time lapse. right, well, the dirt rock's down. I'm starting to think that like all these jobs are hard jobs because I get done and I'm like super sweaty. Uh, so we got the dirt rock down. We put down the mesh tape and filled in the seams. So I don't want to walk on that. So I am not doing anything else in here today. So it's still afternoon. So let's find something else to do in the workshop. And I'm thinking work on the cabinet base. So some sanding and maybe some more time lapse because no one wants to watch me do that in real time. Okay, believe it or not, I did just clean up the workshop. Not in like a thorough cleaning, but I had just stuff laying all over the place. So I've been getting stuff from the store, tools, things that are going in the bathroom, so tile and all that kind of stuff. So I got that out of my way, so I actually work in here. So let's work on the cabinet. And then you see, that's what I've been wasting my mornings for the last 2 days. I've been trying to track that thing down at Harbor Freight. So went to a couple places yesterday. Oh yeah, we have it. Oh, we sold it right before you got here. I'm like, crap. Well, I called this morning. They had one. I had them hold it for me. Went and paid for it downtown. So it was about a half-hour drive. And then they saved the wrong one for me. So the guy was nice enough to track down another one, which was the complete opposite direction. So then I had to drive all the way further south of my house instead of north. But we found it. So figured instead of renting a wet saw all the time, I've got 3 bathrooms, a kitchen, and some other stuff to do. So it's about time to get one. So I got one. Okay, you'll notice it is basic oak. So I want to pull the doors off, pull the faces off of those. They've just got some bolts on the back. So we'll pull all that off so I can get everything. Mark the hinges if we need to. There's only 2. So we'll see how much we have to take off. I might want to take the tracks off so I can sand the insides of these. Let's see how bad a shape this thing is. Like I was saying, they really cut the back up to get those pipes and everything through there. So that in the back. So to get a new cabinet, I would have had to chop it up quite a bit and make sure things fit. So let me get set up and we'll do a time lapse tearing this thing down and sanding. All right, it's another day. Unfortunately, today was yard work day, so it's afternoon again. So I got all the yard work done this morning, but we want to make some movement on the project and stuff. So let's get a few things done. See what we can get done today. Want to open up the new toy, well, tool, depending on how you want to phrase that. But toys are tools. And then it is trash day, so I want to get rid of the box and all that kind of stuff. And then I need to do some finish sanding on the doors. So I kind of did the big areas, but I need to get in these crevices and stuff and get that sanded down so the gel stain will stick better. So let's work on that stuff and go from there. Right, update time. So I got my wet tile saw together. So put that somewhere safe till I need it. Very excited to get that finally. So it's always fun to get new tools. But let me fill you in on the cabinet process. So I got everything sanded. I did some hand sanding on the edges and stuff on some of these because they're just a weird shape. I'm using a gel stain, so if I remember right, it's not imperative that I get every single little piece of old finish off, but I'm going to verify just to make sure. But blew it, static clothed it, so it should be good to stain. I also, if you'll see here, this is the base cover, so the kick plate. I pulled that off because it was actually sitting lower than the actual cabinet was and made it sit not flat. So I think when they originally installed this, the floor was not level, so they had to level it by putting some shims and stuff on it, and then they put the kick plate in there just to cover the gap on the bottom. They also, on the back side, this is where the wall would be, they just caulked that, and it should have a little, 3/4 inch trim piece like this, but full length, just to go along the back wall there, and you can scribe it so it looks nice and clean. We don't have to caulk it and everything. Oh, the other thing too, I was a professional and was going to, do this, for a living or something. This is really thin. You can see, really thin plywood with a veneer of oak on it. So down near the base, obviously got some water on it next to the toilet or mopping over the years, that kind of stuff. So when I sanded it smooth, I burned through that top layer. So we will see how the stain goes on. If it looks funny, I might put another trim piece along the bottom just to cover that up. If you really wanted to do a clean job of it, you can actually pull that whole side off. Uh, your big box store should have some, or you can go to a cabinet store and get what is it, 1/8 inch oak veneer, cut it down to size, and re-adhere it to the side. That way you have a nice fresh piece. But everything's ready to be painted. I was all ready to get ready staining it. Grab my stain, my poly shade, and yeah, been a while since I used that, so that's not gonna work. So I gotta run to the store, get some more of that. The other thing too, I realized when I was picking up some other stuff, this is the trim I'm using in there. And I commented how I didn't like that paper stuff. So I got actual wood. So this is pre-primed wood, not that paper stuff. So I'm short a board. We were kind of thinking about it when we were picking up supplies, and because we picked up a ton of stuff that day, and we're like recounting stuff in our heads. Well, that doesn't seem right. That seems like too much. I'm short a board because I forgot about that trim piece that goes around the attic access. So I was going to whip that up real quick, but I need a board for that. I need stain for this, so I'm going to the store. So hopefully when I get back, I'll be able to get some stain on the cabinet and let that dry, because right now the bathroom floor with the Durarock is still drying. So it's been less, well, it's probably been about 24 hours, but I like to give it extra long time because I don't want to walk on it and mess things up. So gotta go get some stuff and then we'll go from there. are so far in the project. Not the update I was hoping for. So let me show you what went wrong. I think the last thing that I was filming was me doing the finish on the sink base. So I finished that up, not happy with how it turned out. So basically two things. The color is not what I was expecting. So for an example, here's a drawer from a piece of furniture that I use that same finish on. Really love it. The color, the tone, everything about it. So you can see a little bit of the wood shining through. And that's what I was expecting, that espresso brownish dark color. So this finish on here, I don't know if it's picking it up, but it's basically just black. Ebony, you know, whatever you want to call it. It's just black. So you can't really see the wood through it other than the grain structure. So I'm not happy with the color, and I think the big reason for that is it did not go on very smoothly. So I think I said earlier that it was a gel stain. It's not. It's a polyshade Minwax, and I've used it before and I like it. You know, one coat, you're done. I think there was two errors that I made while using this. One was it is hot in Utah right now. It's in the triple digits. So that happened a little bit early this summer. So in my garage, it's even a little hotter than that. So when I was prepping to finish the cabinet, it was hot. So I think that affected the viscosity of the paint, because when I was painting it or putting it onto the wood, it felt like I was trying to spread syrup or molasses. Just, it seemed very thick. And so when it's thick like that, when it finally wants to settle down and spread out, you have excess on there, and it was dripping around the edges. So I was having too much excess on the edges, and it wasn't wanting to stick to where I wanted to paint it. So the corners, you know, corners of pieces, it was not sticking to there. So you'd have like a brown edge, or this guy here was the worst. So like inside these unusual shapes and stuff like that, when you're painting the stuff in, it would just glob in the corners, or it wasn't sticking the first time. So I ended up doing a second coat because of that. And because I did the second coat, you can't see through the finish at all. So it's just a solid finish now. When with it being an espresso finish, it's just black. So not the finish I wanted. So to fix that, I have to refinish it. So I'm gonna have to do some sanding on it, get it smooth. I don't need to remove all the finish, because I think what I'm gonna do is probably spray it out. So whenever you try to brush paint on, it's tough sometimes unless you're a pro at it. But if you ever try to paint a door or a window or something with like panels and stuff in it, it's pretty difficult to get the grains going the right way and not show brush strokes, unless you put an additive in the paint and it takes extra long to dry, that kind of stuff. So I think I'm gonna clean up the doors and everything, make sure everything's nice and smooth. I don't have globs of anything, and I will probably spray it with a bonding primer, so make sure that my new paint sticks to the old paint, and then I will change the color. I grabbed a couple things. It's either going to be a darker gray to coordinate with the walls, or it's going to be an espresso color that looks the same, but it's not going to be that stain color. It's just going to be a solid color at that point. So not knowing what my countertop's going to be, because I'm having a hard time nailing down the exact one I want, I'm kind of bouncing between two. So what I think I'm going to do off camera is I'm just going to try to sand that down, prep it, get it ready for whatever new color it's going to have. Over the weekend, I'm going to try to track down the final version of the countertop, which has kind of been holding me up this week with some other things. And so I'm going to do that. I'm not going to do it on camera because you've already seen me sand and stain and all that kind of stuff. So hopefully the next video you'll see whether that was successful or not, and then whether I got the countertop and everything. So hopefully next week we'll have a little more success in getting some things knocked out. And even if we don't, we'll get to the tile at least. So appreciate you sticking with me. Like, share, subscribe, hit all the buttons. That's always appreciated. And watch those videos. Appreciate it. See you next time.